Have you ever told someone you should always tell the truth, but later found yourself hiding one? Or maybe you said, respect others, yet lost your temper with a stranger online. If we expect something from others, shouldn't we expect the same from ourselves? What we demand of others often reveals what we know deep down we ought to do. But why is that? In this essay, we explore Immanuel Kant's categorical imperative, a principle that doesn't just tell us what's right or wrong based on outcomes or reason, but asks something deeper. Could I will that everyone act the same way I do? For this episode, we are going to discuss the categorical imperative and its three principles, alongside with other ethical theories from different philosophers. I'll make this a short video for you guys. Just make sure to check out the Substack version of this video essay, link in the description below. Now, let's cut to the chase. The other day, there was this one classmate who said something to me, and it made me wonder if what he said was aligning to his values or morality. So I philosophized and came up with this question. What you say unto others indicates what you ought to do. It's not just for the matter of that classmate, but I observe that this happens in a majority of people in today's generation. Little did we know that we are revealing ethics into our everyday lives. Others will find it normal when they do it, but if they see other people do what they are exactly doing, they will find themselves opposing them. I think that our values are always seen when we have to say something, like our stand and how we treat our view in life and in others. It becomes our moral endeavor. Often people will assume, judge, or say that this person is like this or like that because they are too afraid to show or do it themselves. When you prompt people to do something, you might think that they will do it, but in reality, they have different intentions. This is where Immanuel Kant's categorical imperative comes in, which in one form says, act only according to that maxim, whereby you can at the same time will that it should become a universal law. If you tell others to act a certain way, then by Kant's reasoning, you are morally obliged to act the same way yourself. Otherwise, your maxim becomes inconsistent or hypocritical. Example, if you tell someone, be honest, then you are morally bound to be honest as well, because honesty should be a universal duty. This is the principle of universal law. To further elaborate, unpacked from academic speak, Kant is saying that a categorical imperative, determined through this method, is any behavioral standard you expect from others. That is something you must do to no exceptions. Another example. If you consider it morally wrong to eat meat, then by the formula of the universal law of nature, you would also find it immoral to eat meat yourself. Then you would follow through the categorical imperative and adopt a vegetarian lifestyle. Kant suggests that a good law to follow yourself is one that could be universally acceptable, or as he put it, an ascribed law of nature. Here's an example on the negative side. If you think it's okay to cheat in sports, then you'd have to be willing to accept that everyone else was cheating too. As you go, so goes the rest of the world. But a worldview predicated on cheating would generate chaos and anarchy. And also, nobody likes cheating. For these reasons, cheating would not actually be an acceptable categorical imperative. This is the reason why some of us blames everyone when one person did something wrong. By the way, Kant's categorical imperative can help answer such social issues. But that's a topic for another video, or for another time. Here's the second principle. It's called the principle of humanity or ends. Act in such a way that you always treat humanity, whether in your own person or in the person of any other, never simply as a means, but always at the same time as an end. In other words, Kant suggests that humans ought to treat other human beings tenderly, carefully and with great dignity, rather than as objects or as faceless abstract examples of humanity. Some things have instrumental value, and others have inherent value. Instrumental value is a means to an end. A plastic spoon has little value in and of itself, but it has instrumental value in that it helps you place nourishing food in your mouth. Similarly, Kant says it's wrong to use other human beings, to pursue your own needs because they have innate value apart from their interactions with others. This is due large in part because a person's innate value stems from his ability to set aside his animal instincts and to thoughtfully shape his life and the lives of others. In other words, we have reason, and that gives us moral responsibility and innate value. Moral acts are ones that don't diminish the humanity of others, but instead actively help to increase that humanity. The last principle, the principle of autonomy. I could relate this to those who spread gossip, misinformation, and biases. I say to you, act only so that your will could regard itself at the same time as making universal law through its maxims. This means you should govern yourself through reason and moral law, not by being controlled by others or by your desires. You are morally free only when you follow moral laws you give to yourself. Through reason, not because of fear or pressure from others. If you act based on duty and reason, you are autonomous. If you act based on impulse, social norms, or personal gain, you're not truly free. You're being ruled by something outside yourself. In today's society, it's a sort of a trend to influence or gaslight someone, scrambling their moral motives. They can't now decipher whether something is true or false. For Kant, to be moral is to be autonomous. And to be autonomous is to be truly free. You should not be bound by what others say to you. Now, to summarize, Kant's categorical imperative revolves to what he calls deontology. Deon, which means duty. It is our duty to act out of the good will and not because of any end to be achieved. Now we arrive at our honorable mentions. First, we have Aristotle's virtue ethics. Aristotle emphasizes character over rules. What you advise or say to others reflects your internal values, or your lack thereof. So, if you consistently tell others to be kind or courageous, it indicates that you value those virtues, and therefore ought to live by them too, in order to be authentic and morally coherent. Now, in Confucian philosophy, Confucius said, "The superior man acts before he speaks, and afterwards speaks according to his actions." In Confucianism, self-cultivation and leading by example are key. What you say to others reflects the value you internalize. Thus, advising others isn't just about words, it's a mirror of your own duties and actions. Now we get to existentialism. Jean-Paul Sartre said, "When we choose for ourselves, we choose for all mankind." So what we say or expect from others is a reflection of what we believe is right. Which means we are implicitly saying, this is how everyone, including myself, should act. Hence, by telling others what to do, you're making a moral statement that you're also bound by. Sometimes, we are victims of hurtful words, right? Often, or sometimes, coded in jokes, insults, or even judgments. But I advise that we should not be blinded by these, especially if you're not in term with what they say, because perhaps what these people say to you reflects onto them. Note that those people just can't seem to understand you. They easily prey on those whom they think are weak, eliminating anyone that they see as unfit in the environment they reside in. Now, why this matters? It is important to learn and realize ethics because it can help you overcome the harm that other people bring. It guides your decisions when emotions cloud your judgment, and it anchors your actions in principles that go beyond personal gain. Ethics teaches you not only how to treat others, but also how to remain true to yourself. So, what should you do? You should act in a way that reflects the very values you expect from others. Live with integrity, speak with honesty, and treat people not as tools for your goals, but as individuals with their own dignity. Because at the end of the day, your words become your mirror, your actions, and your legacy. Before we judge, label, and tell other people what to do, we must first consider if it's a universal law, if it corresponds with the person's real values. We must ask them, know them better. Being shallow enough to not understand other people can lead to misunderstandings. Put yourself into their shoes and treat them with utmost dignity. Because not everything that you think is thought of by others. In the aspect of psychology, it offers concepts to explain misalignments between individual perceptions and group norms. The video will take a while if I also discussed this in one video. Just go to my Substack and read it there. Make sure to subscribe to not miss any of my essays. Don't forget to also do your own research. I guess my job here is done. Just by discussing you all of these, I'm doing my duty. And that duty is now fulfilled. That's it for now. I'm Ernest Gerard, and I'll see you on the next one.